Have you ever felt invisible? Here's why and how to regain your value. Have you ever experienced that unsettling emptiness? The quiet sadness that lingers when someone who once valued you no longer does? Maybe it's a friend who stops texting, or a partner who becomes indifferent. Maybe a colleague ignores the hard work you put in. You know the feeling when you try to make sense of it. Did I do something wrong? What can I do to fix this? You desperately want to find a way to regain their attention, to remind them of your worth. But here's the painful truth. The more you chase to be appreciated, the less valuable you become in their eyes. This realization is tough, isn't it? It's like the more effort you put in, the more you lose yourself in the process. But here's the good news. There's a shift in perspective that changes everything. A small adjustment to your mindset can completely transform how people view you and how you see your own value. And, more importantly, it helps reveal who truly deserves your energy and attention. So stick with me, because once you understand this, you'll never let yourself fall into this trap again. Why do people stop valuing you? There's a point in many relationships where the dynamic shifts. Someone who once appreciated you stops showing that admiration. At first, it's small. A lack of enthusiasm, fewer messages, distant responses. Then, over time, it becomes clear that your presence is no longer special. You might wonder, what changed? Why don't they see me the way they used to? The truth is, this often happens due to a psychological concept known as hedonic adaptation. In simple terms, when something is always available, it loses its luster. Think about it. When you first get a brand new phone, or that outfit you've had your eye on for months, it feels amazing. But over time, it's just another phone, another outfit. It becomes a part of the routine, no longer exciting or special. This same thing happens with relationships. If you're constantly available, always giving, and putting in effort, eventually that person starts to take you for granted. Your presence no longer feels extraordinary. It's just expected. And this leads to an even more painful reality. The more you give without receiving anything in return, the less they appreciate you. When someone doesn't have to put in any effort to receive your attention or affection, they stop seeing its value. Why chasing them only makes it worse? Here's where things get tricky. When you start to feel neglected or taken for granted, it's natural to want to do more. You want to make the person see how much you care. You reach out more. You try harder. You give more of yourself, thinking that it will get their attention. But here's the paradox. The more you chase someone, the less they value you. Why? Because relationships thrive on a sense of balance. And when you overextend yourself without receiving anything in return, the other person knows they don't have to put in any effort. They don't need to work to earn your time, attention, or affection. It becomes easy, predictable. And predictability leads to boredom, and boredom leads to indifference. So, instead of chasing them, the better approach is to change the dynamic altogether. How to make them recognize your value. This is where the real shift happens. The trick to making someone recognize your worth isn't to give more of yourself. It's to do something that may seem counterintuitive. Take a step back. I know this sounds a little strange. Your first instinct might be to do more, to reach out more, to be more available. But the truth is, taking a step back isn't about punishing the other person or playing games. It's not about being silent in a manipulative way. It's simply about recognizing that your value doesn't depend on how much you give to someone who isn't reciprocating. When you step back, you stop overextending yourself. You stop offering your time, energy, and attention to someone who isn't showing the same effort. If they don't make an effort to reach out, you don't have to be the one to always fill the void. If they don't listen to you, there's no point in repeating yourself endlessly. If they don't respect you, bending over backward to please them only signals that their behavior has no consequences. Your absence becomes far more powerful than your presence because it creates a void. This void forces the other person to pause and reflect on why you're not there anymore. When you're always present, no one questions it. But when you pull away, the silence speaks louder than anything you could say. It forces them to ask, why isn't he here? Why this works? The scarcity effect. The reason this tactic works so well comes down to a psychological principle called the scarcity effect. Humans naturally place more value on things that are rare, limited, or difficult to obtain. Think about luxury items, limited editions, or exclusive opportunities. They're attractive because they're not always available. The same is true in relationships. When you're always there, always available, and always ready to give, people start to see you as predictable. And the predictable, well, it becomes ordinary. And ordinary is easy to take for granted. But when you create space for yourself, when you stop offering endless attention and start focusing on yourself, the perception changes. Suddenly, the other person notices your absence. They realize they've taken you for granted, and they'll either step up to earn back your attention or they won't. Either way, the control shifts. What you should do instead. Instead of chasing those who don't appreciate you, focus on investing in yourself. Cultivate your passions, surround yourself with people who truly value you, and work on your personal growth. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. As you grow and evolve, those who once neglected you will begin to notice. They'll see that you're no longer dependent on their validation. Your life moves forward, beautifully, without waiting for someone else's approval. And when they see this, that's when they'll understand what they've lost. The beauty of independence is that you no longer have to chase anyone. They either meet you at your level or fall behind. You're the one with the power to decide whether to give them another chance or move on without a second thought. And in both cases, you win. Your experience matters. Have you ever felt taken for granted? What happened when you took a step back? Share your story in the comments below. It might help someone who's struggling with the same situation. And if this video resonated with you, subscribe to the Mental Dose channel and join our Telegram channel for more content on wisdom, personal growth, and self-worth. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Each section is now expanded with extra detail while maintaining a smooth, concise style that delivers impactful messages.